photographers try to tell the story in a very immediate, powerful, provocative way.
What I'm doing is studying that subject's movements, their personality, their depth, their gestures.
Working for Geographic is the best job in the whole world. It's also the hardest job in the whole world.
The intensity you have to live with the photography. Most people aren't willing to pay the price.
You're a little bit like a Texas Ranger. You're out there by yourself, on your own frequently, just doing your thing.
It's just a little moment at a time, and you capture it in the box, and then you put it on the page.
Once it's there, you've captured something that possibly could never be captured again.
The cover is the crowning glory. It's the jewel in the crown. I think it makes all of your efforts complete.
To have the cover means kind of that you own the issue. I can see that issue from across the room, and I know it's mine. My story's in there.
I think it was chosen as a cover because it's a natural cover. It's a simple photograph. Because of the flag is in the picture, the stance of the ball player. I think also even the fact he's wearing numeral 1, number 1. I mean, all these things kind of fall into place, and the light was gorgeous on that South Texas afternoon. That picture is a result of simply showing up for work on time. I got there, they played the national anthem, the light was very nice. Not a difficult picture to make.
The writer and I were lost in Dublin, overdue for an appointment in a remote suburb, and we're really racing around Ireland looking for the right road. And we passed these 4 children with their horse. They were walking in front of a great stone wall, and they had this pony, and the light was gentle and graceful. Someone saw them who knew them, honked the horn, and they all looked. They looked off camera, the wind blew, and I took the photograph. 1 frame, 1 moment, and it catches them unaware. And that's the power of the photograph.
A lot of times you know it instantly. You know at the very minute that you click the shutter that the picture is there. A lot of other times it's a surprise on the film when you get home. For example, the picture of the women here at the swings and the Saudi women cover. I didn't really realize at the time that was going to be as compelling a picture as it was. You know, I saw the light and the movement and the shapes, but I didn't realize how the way her hip line goes would be quite so seductive, and to work with the expression in her eyes, and that the kid on the swing would be going right at the moment that it was. Those things you don't know. You hope for the best.
I think a cover needs to be simple, direct, and it has to reach out and grab the reader. This picture was chosen for the cover because it kind of summed up the whole plight of the Afghan people at this time. And there was a very small country. They were invaded by a superpower. Since I made the photograph back in 1984, I don't think a week has gone by in the last 11 years that I haven't gotten a letter or a telephone call asking about her, wanting a print, or wanting to send money to her. The attraction, why people are drawn to that picture, is the look in her eyes. The haunted look is perhaps what is kind of riveting.
After disappearing for almost 2 decades, how would this famous face look? Is she still alive? National Geographic photographer Steve McCurry hunts for a beautiful girl he saw 17 years ago. He snapped this famous photo of her, but didn't get her name. She was young and scared. a refugee from the war in Afghanistan. He called her the Afghan Girl.
She has become really the icon of the Afghan struggle. Her plight and her situations really come to symbolize what's happened here over the last 2 decades.
In 2001, the war in Afghanistan has the world's attention. McCurry returns to the refugee camps, determined to find the face from long ago. For weeks, he roams the streets, scouring shops, markets, and schools. The photograph is his only clue.
Here's my wife. Yeah, you're sure?
His search proves harder than he thought. In this conservative Muslim society, grown women must wear veils. If still alive, the girl would now be about 30, her stunning face hidden from view. But shortly after McCurry leaves, an Afghan refugee approaches the TV crew. He says he knows the girl from the photo. But the woman now lives hours away near Tora Bora, across a border that swallows lives. The man agrees to bring her to a nearby home. 3 days later, she arrives. But there's a hitch. Local custom dictates only a woman may enter inside.
Do that and then we'll eagerly await.
Associate producer Carrie Regan goes forward, alone.
I remember walking to this back room, and there were women sitting around the floor, and they gestured to this figure in the back corner, and she looked up, and I saw these gleaming bright eyes, and for the first time I thought, you know, we might just have something here. We might just have the Afghan Girl.
There's one way to know for sure, a new technology called iris mapping. Carrie snaps a photo, which is rushed to a lab in the States. There, experts compare the eyes of the woman with those of the girl. The colored part of the eye is called the iris. The computer maps its subtle pattern. It's as distinctive as a fingerprint. And these two sets match. The Afghan Girl now has a name, Sharbat Gula. For years, she's lived in poverty in Afghanistan's countryside, oblivious to her fame around the world. McCurry races back, hoping to photograph Sharbat once again. But one obstacle still remains. Sharbat's a conservative Muslim, now married with 3 children. Will she be willing to drop her veil? It's hard for Sharbat to understand that she's an icon to the outside world. McCurry talks with her and her husband, explaining that this will bring attention to the plight of the Afghan people. Reluctantly, she agrees to the request. As he sets up the shot, Sharbat drops her veil. The famous eyes flash defiantly, again capturing the attention of the entire world. Sharbat's face reveals the sorrow of war, but for McCurry, it sends a message of both courage and hope.
The fact that she's lifted up her burqa and revealed her face to the world, essentially, is sort of a minor miracle.